Happy Thanksgiving, folks. So this morning while I was working, I was thinking about ideas for stories, and Thanksgiving was on my mind. And so about 6 hours ago, I came up with an idea. I dictated it in my phone, love that feature, and I have this story for you now. So here we go. It's called Thanks, Nana. Ding dong rang the doorbell of Evelyn Davies' Victorian-style home. The kindly old widow had looked forward to today all year long. Thanksgiving was her favorite holiday, even more so than Christmas. While evergreens and Christmas presents were nice, it was the family she valued the most. It was the family she was most thankful for. "They're finally here," she said to the wedding photo on the end table next to her favorite chair. She kissed her index and middle fingers and delivered the kiss to her departed husband, Edward, in the yellowing photo. "Just one moment," Evelyn yelled out. She smoothed out the wrinkles on the apron she was wearing. It was patterned with fall flowers and a cartoon turkey on the pocket. She unlocked the latch and opened the door 4 inches as the chain went taut. "Nana!" yelled the great-grandkids excitedly. Nathan Lewis, older of the 2 youngsters, fidgeted, while Izzy buried her face in a handheld electronic game. They were 10 and 8 respectively. Evelyn opened the door wide and ushered in the family. Jerry Lewis, her grandson, was a large man standing 6 foot 3 inches tall and 220 pounds of muscle and salt and pepper brown hair. His tall and muscular stature ensured he never heard about the long-dead comedian who may or may not have been his namesake. Brenda Lewis was his high school sweetheart. She was a 5'2" blonde with blue eyes and a force to be reckoned with if you got on her bad side. "Come into the sitting room and have a lemonade," Evelyn said to the lot of them. Grandma's lemonade was legendary in the neighborhood. She was quite the accomplished cook and always made a great dinner. Lately, she had been feeling her age, however. Little things forgotten here and there. Nothing too concerning, thankfully. "How have you been, Nana?" Brenda asked. Evelyn was used to being called by her name, Grandma, and Nana interchangeably. She quite liked it, in fact. Kept things more interesting as far as she was concerned. "I've been well, tired but well," she said with a smile. "You look better than you did 3 days ago when I dropped off the dinner ingredients," said Jerry, who was pouring a glass of lemonade from the pitcher on the coffee table. "Thank you for delivering those groceries to me, dear. I don't trust those shopping folks. Well, there's one good one, but I get too many silly fools most of the time," she said. The kids were bickering over the handheld game. The faint sounds of video games could be heard. "My turn. You've had it forever," Nathan said to his sister, who was twisting side to side to evade his attempts to grab hold of it. 10 more minutes and you can have it. I'm almost done this level," she said. "Fine, 10 minutes, and then it's mine," he agreed. Brenda came back from the bathroom and commented on the delicious aromas coming from the other room. "Dinner smells wonderful, Evelyn," she said as she closed her eyes and drew in a deep breath through her nose. "Why, thank you, dear. I'm thankful for the excuse to cook for us all." She glanced at the photo on her end table and was lost in thought for a moment. A timer dinged from the direction of the kitchen, and she headed toward the doorway. "Let me give you a hand, Nana," she said as she gave a quick hug to Jerry and headed for the kitchen as well. Jerry knew he was a lucky man. He'd married his cheerleader girlfriend from back in high school. They'd raised a family and spent 27 wonderful years together. She'd been his tiny rock and got them through the loss of his parents 8 years ago from that traffic accident. He fell deeply in love with her so many years ago, and it only grew deeper with every passing year. He knew she felt the same about him. They were good for each other, and the kids couldn't have asked for better parents. He smiled as he watched his wife walk into the kitchen. She quietly smacked her butt and looked over her shoulder at him. Brenda knew he was watching her walk away. He always did. "Come on, kids. Let's get to the table," Jerry said. "Okay, Dad," Izzy said, and took her place at the beautiful antique dining table. Nathan took his place as well. Do you want a hand with anything? He said in the direction of the kitchen. Nope, us girls got it covered, babe, she said from the other room. Moments later, turkey and all the fixings made their way onto the table. Would you say grace? Evelyn asked her grandson. He happily gave thanks over the meal and then began to carve the turkey. It's not a great-looking bird, he thought. Seems smaller than the one he dropped off days ago. Perhaps he was just remembering it wrong. Plates were passed and filled. The meal smelled wonderful. Jerry could have sworn he could hear the family salivating over the plates. Dig in, Evelyn said joyfully. To say the turkey was dry was an understatement. Jerry had tasted a mouthful of sand once as a kid. The sand had nothing on this turkey. Gravy helped some, but it was like the meat destroyed moisture on contact. Oh, I love to see your grandma each year, but holy cow, this turkey is so dry. It's like sawdust, Brenda said under her breath. Keep it down. Don't let Grandma hear you, Jerry said quietly. He loved his grandma. They came here every year for the past 5 years, and always Thanksgiving had been wonderful. He loved the meal and listening to the sweet old lady tell about her friends at church or the things she did when she was younger. Grandma Evelyn was turning 90 years old this year. Jerry had always been her favorite. He knew it wouldn't be too much longer until she no longer was with them, and he wanted to have the best Thanksgiving ever. The kids usually liked Grandma's cooking, but this time they sniffed the food in front of them and crinkled up their noses. He couldn't really blame them, but the thought of insulting his grandmother troubled him. Come on, kids, eat up, Jerry said, glancing at Grandma, who was eagerly devouring the turkey in front of her. Grandma Evelyn daintily dabbed the corner of her mouth with a napkin. Children, eyes front, please, she said. It's time for our tradition. What are you all thankful for this year? Nathan, dear, tell your great-grandmother what you're thankful for, she said to the eldest child, who was digging trenches in the mashed potatoes with a fork. I'm thankful for dessert, Nana, he said. Dear, I'm thankful for dessert, too, but boys and girls need to eat dinner first before they get dessert. Yes, Nana. He reluctantly took a small bite of turkey with his fork. And what about you, Brenda? She said to her granddaughter-in-law. Well, you know me, I'm always thankful for the kids. And tequila, she said, eyeing the bottle on the shelf behind Evelyn. Somehow the old lady seemed to have the best booze around. Drinks after dinner made for fun conversations, after all. Evelyn always appreciated a good drink. That's what she credited her 90 years of life to, was a stiff drink before bedtime. You forgot me, Nana, said Izzy, the youngest of the children. Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I was going to ask you next, but you were under the table. Izzy blushed. Oh, yeah. Oops, Nana. That's all right. Tell me, what are you thankful for, dear? Xbox, she exclaimed. What is that? What is that? Evelyn asks. Only the best thing in the world. Yeah. Can I change my answer? Asked Izzy's older brother. Well, I don't know what that is exactly, but I'm glad you're thankful. Evelyn knew she was a little behind in the times, but nonetheless, she was glad that her great-grandchildren showed appreciation for anything. What are you thankful for, Nana? Asked Nathan, who was grimacing with every bite of his dinner. Evelyn smiled as she looked around the room at her family. It was regrettable that her daughter was no longer with them. It could have been a complete picture, like out of those old Norman Rockwell paintings. Well, Nathan, I'm thankful for my family, of course. I'm thankful for my beautiful home that I've had for the last 60 years. If only Edward was still here, God rest his soul. I do miss him so much. He could have helped me with that new freezer. Jerry spoke up, asking, When did you get that, Grandma? Oh, last week. Do you remember my good friend Thelma? Of course, said Brenda, who knew they were inseparable best friends for decades. Yes, well, I didn't get a chance to let you know. Dear Thelma passed away last week. Before she died, she said I could have anything in her apartment that I would like. My freezer just stopped working, so I asked if I could have her freezer. So we asked the young man next door if he could help me move it here. They just don't make them like this anymore," she said, looking at the ancient icebox dutifully humming in the corner. I had held on to everything, especially valuable things that might last for a long time. "I'm sorry for your loss, Grandma. I know what she meant to you," he said as Brenda nodded in agreement. Jerry said, "I remember she had this pencil box you told me about. It was like 5,000 pens and pencils in it." "Yes, that's just like Thelma for sure," she said with a bit of a giggle. "Are you okay, dear?" Evelyn said to Brenda. She was looking rather pale, and sweat had beaded on her brow. "I'm sorry, Grandma Evelyn, my stomach's a bit unsettled." It was about then that Nathan let out a fart that could have rattled the plates in the cabinets. "I don't feel so good either," Nathan confessed. "Oh dear, I do hope that the meat wasn't spoiled," said Evelyn. "I doubt that, Grandma. I dropped that turkey off just 3 days ago, and it was fine," said Jerry. "I thank you for that, dear, but I've always believed it best to rotate your canned goods, vegetables, fruits, and meats. So I used the turkey I already had. Thelma wrapped it up quite nicely." Brenda looked a bit befuddled. "That was Thelma's turkey," she said. "Why, yes. Thelma told me it came with the freezer. The appliance salesman had given out a free bird with every sale. Back then, a good-sized turkey was $2. Jerry and Brenda looked at one another with an expression of horror at the realization that they had just eaten a 40-year-old turkey. "Excuse me, I have to go to the bathroom," said Nathan as he got up from the table holding his rear end and running down the hallway. It was decided shortly after that they should visit the local hospital. On the road to the emergency room, Brenda threw back a shot of tequila. Perhaps she could kill whatever ancient bug had taken root in her stomach. Jerry, who was driving despite looking rather green, tried his best not to coat the dashboard in Thanksgiving dinner. At that moment, he looked at his wife while she was doubled over and his children were farting up a storm in the back, and he thought to himself, "Am I ever thankful for Grandma living 5 minutes away from the hospital?" Meanwhile, Evelyn sat at the empty table. As she hummed a happy little tune, she polished off the last of the pecan pie with a grin. "Happy Thanksgiving, Edward," she said to her wedding photo. And there you have it. Thanks, Nana. So happy Thanksgiving to all you folks, and please like, share, and subscribe for similar fun little stories, and I will catch you next time. I'll be right here waiting for you.